Fintech Americas.
Hi everyone, we are with Eduardo Sanchez from Mastercard. He's the SVP of Security Solutions at Mastercard Latin America and Caribbean. And let's start by telling me something about you. Who is Eduardo Sanchez?
Well, that's the best way to get started. Ask people to talk about themselves and they'll talk for hours,
they
right?
always know what to say.
Well, but what is a little bit about me? Well, I'm from Brazil, originally from Brazil, but I've been living here in the US in the past 10 years or almost 10 years, right? I'm sort of a kind of the geek kind of a profile, engineer by training, always worked with the management consulting, love comic books, love video games, and I think I pass a little bit to my kids up there as well. So yeah, no, I'm quite eclectic in this area, but very much analytical kind of guy, and at work, at home, doesn't matter, but that's the way we do it.
And what about before Mastercard? How did you get to Mastercard?
Right. I was working with management consulting before. And I had experiences working for banks, specifically Citibank in Europe. But apart from the Citibank experience, most of my experience was management consulting. So I actually loved both experiences. And talking to other colleagues of mine, they said, guess what? Probably Mastercard will have a little bit of both because they had their consultancy practice inside of the industry, inside of the company.
Is it Mastercard Advisors?
Correct.
Oh, perfect.
That's right. And I had a few friends in common where we start chit-chatting about opportunities in Mastercard. At some point in time, things came true. That's the way I started about 16 years ago. So it's been a journey now.
We love Mastercard Advisor, by the way. I think it's an amazing value proposition for banks, both as a customer and now actually Mastercard Advisor is one of our customers. So I really love Mastercard Advisors. And tell me about your current position. Tell me what you're doing right now.
Right. So I work with the security solutions. What it means, security solutions. It's about the tools and solutions we can provide to our customers in order to safeguard them, right? And one of the things we've been saying more and more to the entire market is not only about protecting transactions, but protecting every interaction. And the reason for that is not only now the banks and in the financial ecosystem. We're going much beyond the financial ecosystem. And the reason is the interactions for commerce are amplifying. So it's going everywhere outside of this financial ecosystem. So that's the reason why what we do is to protect transactions, but interactions as well.
Excellent. And what are the main challenges for protecting those payments or interactions, as you said?
I think today one of the main difficulties and challenges is how things are evolving quickly, how technology is evolving quickly, and how bad actors are using
Absolutely.
all of that at the same time. So one of the analogies that I like to do is let's use soccer. So we are all from Latin America, so let's use soccer. So picture the following. So now the games are Mastercard or a bank is at the defense, is playing defense. So it's at the post and the goal. And in the offense side are all the fraudsters. What the fraudsters need to do is just to do one goal.
It scored once. You
one.
can play perfectly 89 minutes and lose the game.
Exactly. And for me, it's also easy, right? I just need to defend every single ball that comes to me.
Exactly.
So, and this is very asymmetrical.
Absolutely.
And for one reason, to have one more player playing offense is almost zero the cost. Is someone with a new computer trying to do another attack. So it's we need to play catch up all the time, to make sure that we're ahead of the game in protecting that game that we have today. So this is what keeps us, awake at night, is how we're going to play in this asymmetrical game, making sure you're using the tools, making sure you're using solutions, technology to play their game too. Right?
Excellent. What are the key factors in building and securing trust in the digital payment space? What are the the building blocks of that?
Okay. Let me ask a different question.
Okay.
I'm not gonna answer, but I'm gonna ask a question
Perfect.
before. If you use Uber or other
Yes.
apps for transportation, okay. So you're gonna enter in the vehicle of someone who you never met,
in my life.
but you still do it, and you repeat it, right?
Yeah,
Why?
absolutely.
Why you do it? With someone you never saw in your life.
That's a great. Actually, it's Seinfeld once said, "You give your car, which is the most valuable mobile device in your life, to someone because they're wearing a vest. It's just a vest and it's valid parking." So, well, tell me about that.
So it's about, number one, the technology that they built. So you trust the technology is going to work, and you're going to trust the rules and the way you're going to interact. So you're trusting that before they screen all the drivers properly. You trust that if you have any problems, you have GPS, you have how to track, the payment will work. If you have any issues, you always can come back and ask, right? So this is how we build the foundations of the payment ecosystem, is building on the trust and building on the technology that helps to build that trust. And we need to work day to day to fulfill our commitments, right? To say, I promise you my brand value is the card will work no matter
Properly.
what.
Yeah.
And
the
in a
person
safe,
is not going to stab you. Everything is
correct. And this is how we start, building and investing in technology little by little to build that trust. So you can enter in someone's car and the payment will work and the driver will bring you from point A to point B. We're doing the same, right? To give an idea, we are talking about, Uber connecting consumers, and the drivers. We're not that much different. I'm connecting consumers. We have about 3 billion cardholders, and we have 200 million points of acceptance between digital and physical, right? We are there in the middle, making sure that I'm connecting the two dots, the cardholder and the merchant, with the same sort of a technology and rules, and making sure that I'm here to back you up if anything is required.
Tell us about that magic, because of course Uber, you imagine what they do. What do you guys do to try to protect that interaction?
Good. To give an idea, roughly speaking, in the past 6 years, we invested internally and through acquisitions about $10 billion.
Wow.
Okay. So that means.
Why don't you just pay the fraudsters? It might be cheaper.
But let me give you the stats on this one. In terms of cyber criminals, fraudsters, and so on, we are talking about losses or compromise of $10 trillion.
My God.
This is an estimate for 2025.
My God.
Let's put that in perspective. What $10 trillion means? That's a
I'm an economist. I don't even know.
So what's the U.S. economy? GDP?
It's in the order of trillions.
30 trillion.
30 trillion.
China? 20 trillion. Germany, which is the third one, 5 trillion. So the fraud market is the third largest economy in the world.
It's the California of the U.S. states. It's a business itself that could trump everything.
Exactly. So the way, or you can put in a different way. I can open here right now, just to give another reference of how big things are. Today, Apple, 3 trillion. Microsoft, 2.8. So 3 and 3, 6.
Yeah, the fraudsters could buy those companies in 1 year.
Boom. That's it. And,
Every
and
year
you, and
they
you still
could-
have a few cents back.
Yeah.
So that's the order of magnitude we're talking about. A third largest economy in the world, 5 of the largest
I don't think
companies.
people realize this. I think you're saying something very critical, very relevant, and people don't know that figure.
Correct. And now, of course, we are at the center of connecting the two dots. So how do I protect those two parts of the equation and fulfill my promise on my brand? Is that you gotta trust, right? That the transaction will be safe and will happen. So we keep investing. We need to invest internally in new products and new technologies, but also we use the $10 billion in the last 6 years to buy companies to start filling the opportunities and continue to provide the service.
Wow. What's the most difficult? What would you say is the most difficult part of your job?
There is so many things going on at this time. One thing in particular, I think we've been talking a lot nowadays is scams. That's the most difficult part, and let me tell you why. Number one is becoming the beauty is no one likes to talk much about scams, even if you are
A victim.
a victim, right? Maybe it's a shame, maybe for whatever reason, so you don't go much there and express. But I also wanted to talk. I don't want to say this is becoming sort of a pop culture either, because now we have look at the some of the movies in Netflix, for example. Inventing Anna. German hairness, that came to New York and so on.
Or that
Tinder,
other guy, the Tinder
swindler.
King or whatever.
Right?
Exactly.
So now, I don't want to say this is becoming pop culture, but now we're talking more about it.
Yeah.
And become one of the things. But it's pretty hard to make sure companies are aware of what's going on. So one of the hardest part is how we're going to continue to tackle scams. Let me give you other things, right? Statistics. There is a recent World Economic Forum report, came out probably in January. And they were saying about 50%, nearly 50% of organizations, 42% actually, have received phishing emails.
I receive 3 per day.
Good.
3 per day, 3 attempts per day.
Correct.
We collect them. We have a whole wall.
And you
of,
put in the board, right?
Yeah.
So this is about 50. If we look at small companies, now they're saying 35% of the small companies say, I don't feel comfortable in dealing or knowing what to do with cyber attacks. Right? It was 5% 3 years ago.
Wow.
So look at how things are. Technology is evolving in such a way that they are using AIs to make those phishing
Absolutely.
even more credible. Now you're getting even more tempted to click on the link or open the file you're not supposed to. But look at what we call phishing, which is the voice.
My God. Because we are having this conversation, they already have our voices.
Correct.
There is a guy in my company, of course, in N5 is full of geeks and brilliant senior engineers, and they try to convince me to give them a raise using my voice. So they send me, my people, just for, to have a laugh, they send a request for an increase in salary using my voice. It's amazing. And of course,
And you said, I approve this message.
Yeah, I approve this message at the end. So it's, I guess the challenges are increasing very rapidly for you guys.
It's increasing exponentially. And you have, stories and stories to tell. You see on the in news of, unfortunately, widow and very old elderly people falling into those scams, hostage phishing, what we say, right? is someone calling and you think it is your daughter, your spouse, or someone, and it actually is just mimicking of the voice.
The actual voice.
Right. So this is one of the things that is quite complicated, but again, there's not a silver bullet. We try to start looking at a lot of breadcrumbs.
Perfect.
And trying to predict. So the same way they're using the technology in their favor, say, well, the technology is available to me as well. I can start connecting the dots a little bit more, right? Of course, we need to educate more people. The movies are already bringing to a reality to say, wait a second. But we need to continue to talk, educate people. You know, about 70 to 80% of attacks happen because someone in a company clicked on the link on the email they was supposed to.
Yeah.
Right? So this is all about education.
Absolutely.
So this is how we start, step by step, following the breadcrumbs to fight against.
By the way, I know this person, very brilliant Brazilian guy, by the way, is a close friend. He owns a company that what they do is they allow hackers to go into systems just to track them back. So instead of preventing them from entering, they want them to enter just to track them back. So this industry, I never ever imagined the size of the industry. So tell me how a potential customer should engage with Mastercard to talk about this. I'm listening to this, I'm very shocked by numbers, I understand the magnitude of the problem. What should I do next?
Right. So I think that's a first step. It's creating awareness, right? Remember, I don't know what I don't know. Therefore, let's create awareness. So this is the way we tend to work with in the industry and with clients, right? Number one, create awareness. Number two, protect. Number three, collaborate. What means creating the awareness is making sure that you have tools that allows you to see where your gaps could be. Gaps on the website, gaps on your banking, authorization systems, any sort of a gaps. Start with that. And sometimes even information that allows you to prevent what's going to happen, right? So remember, you only need one goal, right?
Absolutely.
So once someone makes a goal, scores a goal, they go in the dark web, they start talking to each other, and the news is spread. What if you have access to a system that you can see those news, and you say, it didn't arrive to me yet,
but it will.
But I better protect already, right?
Yeah.
So access to information that they have, you can have too, and understanding where potentially your vulnerabilities could be. This is awareness. That doesn't mean you have information. It doesn't mean you acted. You didn't do anything yet. Now comes the protection. This is where more tools and solutions come into play. Examples. By the way, because nothing is silver bullet, you need to work on multi-layer approach. Let me give you one example. We have protections that help everyone in the ecosystem. Remember, they're always going to find the weakest link. So there are things that we say, you know what, I cannot create a weakest link. Let me protect everyone regardless, right? So we have one of the tools, it's called safety net. But the safety net, just to give an example, in the last 3 years, it stopped suspicious transactions, about $50 billion of suspicious transactions.
Wow.
Yeah. So which is, it could be reaching the banks and other institutions without knowing. Why? Well, because you have cards on the dark web. You start using those cards and buying things. And sometimes it's massive, right? It's not like one individual trying. It's organizations coming and becoming an industry. So they do it massive, at scale. So that's the reason why you see patterns. That's how we started using AI. You see patterns at large scale, you understand what's going on, and you act before it reaches the banks, as an example. But you have other layers, right? So this is very macro, very global. You can have particular tools only for you, consumer. And there is the collaboration part, which is a little bit of a public-private partnership. We need to collaborate with as many institutions, associations, law enforcement, government, to make sure everyone's aware, everyone is working and marching towards the same direction. That's one of the areas that I love to say, and that's the reason why I say collaborate and orchestrate. You and I, we can be competitors in the day-to-day business. When it comes to fraud,
we have to work together.
We have to work together.
If the aliens attack Earth, Argentinians and Brazilians have to play together.
But don't give me a ball. We play together without ball. But it's true. But that's a topic that I
Absolutely.
say. There's no, me against you. It's
Absolutely.
me and you against
them.
Them. Exactly.
Absolutely. You are a super interesting person to talk to. How could people reach to you? Do you have, I don't know, social networks? How do we get to you?
LinkedIn is one good way to get started. I'll be around also, so people
Excellent.
can stop me, ask for a quick chit chat and coffee. That's another way.
That's awesome. Actually, we can host you there in the M5 booth over there, right in the middle. Is there anything else that you would like to say today to all our listeners?
No, I think, number one, great conversation.
It was a great conversation.
And it's interesting because sometimes the topic of fraud and cyber can be quite dense, but you say, no, it's as long as we know what's going on, we are informed, we can work, we can collaborate on the topic. And I'm super willing always to get the word out of there to say, let's work together to protect the ecosystem, no matter what.
That's awesome. It was Eduardo Sanchez, the Senior Vice President of Security Solutions at Mastercard Latin America and the Caribbean. Brilliant guy, a geek, and a very, very interesting person to talk to. So don't miss your opportunity to talk to him. Thank you, my friend.
Thank you so much. It was a real pleasure.
FinTalks Americas.